guys, Master Whitfield, Coach Steve, Jiu-Jitsu grappling guy, done a little sumo, done a little bit of everything. Me, I've done a lot of research. We're going to do our best here. Do not murder us if we get a date wrong, or, you know what, I think this is this. So the point of this series, if you can't read the board, we got martial, we got art, and we got both. The point of this series is going to be just trying to delve into these a little bit. What are they for? So today we're probably going to pick just a few martial arts, and we're going to try to put them into a category, which, don't get me wrong, some of these are really hard. All right? This took a while to even decide this is what we wanted to do. Yeah. Like martial art, we started going like, whoa, some of these are falling into interesting categories here. So we're going to do our best. So today, we're going to start with karate. All right, karate is about the most broad thing besides kung fu you can get into. There is so many kinds of karate styles. So if we go Okinawan style, Okinawan is where karate was first started. So the Okinawans, a lot of their stuff went, they did a lot, it was for self-defense. That was what they did it for. There was no sport, there was no tournaments. Only when it went to mainland China, like in the early 1900s, did it really become a sport because they wanted to put it in the school systems. It was very similar to judo when we start getting into judo later. You'll be like, oh, okay. So the karate, there's anything with ru on the end, like Ishinru, Goju-ru, Shorin-ru. All those are going to be really from the Okinawan Islands. It's when you start getting away from it, like the Shotokan, like GSP, you know, there's and anything like that. When it starts getting away from mainland, it starts losing the ru. All right. So the karate style we're going. Let's just pick one. Let's go Shotokan. Shotokan GSP.
I think I misspoke when I said Shotokan. I think he started with Kyokushin karate.
Right? And this is what we're talking about because they all start blending together. We know a lot about martial arts and fighting. He loves GSP. I like GSP. But when it comes down to it, Kyokushin and Shotokan, Kyokushin was made by Masoyama. I'm pretty sure it was Masoyama. He was part Korean, part Japanese. And, you know, he started doing karate when he was super young. And there's so many stories we could go into about Masoyama, like punching a bull dead. Whatever.
For sure that happened.
Yeah, that happened 100%. So this is what we're trying to get through the lure of things.
Right. So
like this guy punched a bull dead. Come on now.
We have to. How are we differentiating between the two then?
Yes,
right?
And that's what we're trying to. That's what we're going to try to get to today, and hopefully just have a little fun along the way. This isn't supposed to be like this is 100% how we see it. No, there's historians out there that will probably murder us on this and go no.
If nothing else, then just for the pronunciation.
Yeah, I mean karate.
Yeah. Karate.
So with our karate, some styles have more forms than others. If I remember correctly, I believe Goju has the most forms in karate. Which means when you start going into karate, go ahead.
I was just going to say, back to the differentiating part, some of these karate styles are going to be on one end of the spectrum and some are going to be on the other, right?
That is very true because when we start getting into stuff like Kubo or Kudo, Kudo is a very modern style. Later on, we'll probably get into. It's a modern Japanese style where they wear head mask. It's full contact. It's karate with judo throws. So it's pretty cool little style.
That's awesome.
It's full contact. They have a full mask and cover. You know, Japanese. That's just how they are. They're
like a kendo mask.
Yeah, a little small. It's kind of like a plastic covering. If you ever done point karate, you'll see them at tournaments where it's a full normal headgear, and there's just a plastic mask that kind of you can see through the eyes. It's just to protect the nose. So if we're not picking one particular karate style, we're just gonna. It's a broad here. So if I go with karate or karate,
would you say that because you mentioned forms, some of those having a lot of forms, right? Would you say that the more forms this art has, the more on the art side it tends to lean?
That's usually because I've spoken to a lot of instructors here. By the way, we do our main style here is like a striking style. It's a Tong Sudo. Coach Steve is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Judo. So when we start getting into, if you have a lot of forms, guess what you're doing the most time doing? Trying to make those forms perfect. Forms are not fighting. Forms are a nice little add-on. Anytime you people who don't like forms, no problem, guys. You don't need to. But people who do forms and you take the time to actually understand what forms are for, they can really help out your martial art as long as it's not forms here, practical here. This is a problem. The closer they get is a little better. Somewhere in here is good.
And that problem with traditional martial arts tend to be more often than not, right?
Yes, it's because what happens is as you get higher in traditional martial arts, what happens is they have less and less to teach. So guess what? People started creating more forms.
And if you're not just killing men in a death match to get your rank,
yes,
that's how they have to judge you.
So
right?
if we think about Spartan warriors are how did people know they were the best? They lived. They fought and they lived. This guy's won 28 times in a row. It's pretty good.
So it's almost like kind of like what we have now with the UFC, right?
Yes.
We have the benefit of being able to watch this sort of laboratory of martial arts going on all
yes.
the time. All the arts that really tend to dominate at the highest level in the UFC, I can't think of any of them that have any forms, right?
Yeah, so when it comes to something like this, so it comes to something like karate, I am going to, because there's different kinds of karate, I'm going to lean a little towards both right now. Mm-hmm. Because there are, like, if you take something like
Kyokushin. Could you name maybe a few of the ones that are on the art end of the spectrum?
All right, we could say something like...
And tell us why.
Yeah, we could say something like Goju-Ryu. Goju-Ryu from my learn, they have a ton of forms. A ton. And what happens is you find that you're watching like, wow, those are good forms. And they go out there to spar or to practice, just like, what? Mm-hmm. Something
being lost once it goes to a live situation.
Something like a Kempo. Ton of forms. Ton of like what we in Tong Soo Do we call Ilsusik, which is like one-step combination. Like you throw a punch, I block, right? Mm-hmm. The problem is they put so much emphasis on those things that now they don't have time to, let's go spar. When you watch them spar, you're like, oh, God.
Is that your main thing with Kempo? Because I know you seem to have like a special hatred for Kempo.
I don't hate it. All right, so we're kind of getting off topic here, but
it's karate.
Yes, it's not about that. It's not that I hate something or one or the other. Most martial arts I think are incredible. I think they have benefits. It's just when the benefits start getting lost, like you start getting like those yellow bamboo people. Mm-hmm. The yellow bamboo people, if you guys don't know, is you run towards. I have a key strike and you can't get close to me, and they believe it. Like you throw a punch, I go ah. And I breathe and you fall back.
Create some sort of force.
Yes.
Like independence.
So, but that is what happens the more closer you get to the art part. It starts fading away from reality when probably in the beginning it had some good benefits. But one guy took it a little further. There was
probably never a fighting art that started out on the art side.
Oh.
It's not like anybody ever designed a system of dance fighting that was really just a dance only, right?
If you listen to Dan Inosanto, he is one of the first. He's one of the first.
Bruce Lee's main student. Right?
Bruce Lee's main student. All right, dude's good. I mean, he's like 3rd or 4th degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's like Jeet Kune Do. He's Wushu. He's Kali. Mm-hmm. So many martial arts. He came in one day. He had one of his students like, hey, we do a lot of the balance and the stuff and the flow and stuff. He's like, are we actually going to spar a lot? And he goes, this is one of his first students. He goes, and Dan Inosanto is a very honest guy. He goes, you know what? I like martial and I like the art part, but I must admit, I just like teaching the art more. Okay. You can't blame him for that. That's fine, man. But he's not trying to be something he's not. Mm-hmm. I like teaching the art more.
Right.
You have people all the time saying, you can use this for this. Mm-hmm. But you can't.
So at that point, you're teaching something more almost for posterity, more for like a history.
Yes.
Right? Because there are people who train in ancient sword fighting techniques that obviously they're not going to use in a street fight, but they're training them. And then
we're going to get into the sword part. Kim, we have some swords and some Aedos coming up for you sword people out there. And I have a black belt in those sword arts. So I have some pretty big insights on those. Yeah. But as far as karate, if you don't mind, Coach, I think we're going to put them under both right now.
I think we have to, right?
All right. So we're going to
go. If we're just using just that one word, then it has to be both, I would say.
Don't get me wrong. We could do a whole thing on just karate.
I think that might actually be good for today. I think
Yeah.
because this is such a broad topic.
Yes, we didn't want to make these too long for you guys.
And this raised so many good questions for us to play around with in the future.
Yes.
I think this is good for a start.
Yes.
What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. Just kidding. Good week, right?
Yeah,
we'll do this every week. Send in an art you want us to look at. Obviously, I'm no expert, but he's about as close to an expert as you can get. And I got plenty of opinions.
That's
for better
what
or
we
worse,
need, though.
right? So we'll be here next week, guys.
Yeah, if you have an art you want to see, we have a ton of them. But if there's an art you're like, wow, I want to see, I want to check it out. Even if it's art we don't know, we can research it. I've been doing martial arts so long that
this is all we do.
I can just this is our job all day. I can just research and go, yeah, what do I think about this art? All right. So we got some pretty exotic arts coming up called silat. I love silat. I think you'll find out my opinions on that, good or bad, indifferent, whatever. Then we got our grappling guy over here, Jiu-Jitsu, Judo, loves his grappling. He loves his sumo too. Look at this sumo guy.
Can't you tell?
All right. Thanks, guys. Like I said, if there's an art you want, let's do it. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
See you guys next time.
Thanks, guys.